So, Poppy Playtime as dragons. Considering I already turned some of the characters into dragons, this just makes sense. So without further ado, on with the show. Hello once again. My name is Thrickendalscon, leader of the Dragon Keepers, a guild of knights dedicated to protecting and capturing many of the most dangerous dragons in this realm. The dragons we discuss today are some of the most dangerous on this world. So dangerous, in fact, that we cannot even allow them on the Isle. They are so dangerous that none of the actual Dragon Keepers were willing to go and hunt them down, and as such we had to outsource. But before we get to that, I should establish the threat that we're dealing with. A threat that many of you may remember well. Years ago, there was a guild of warlocks who, using forbidden magic, kidnapped and transformed orphan children into vicious monsters. They intended to sell these monsters to kingdoms for purposes of warfare, but the monsters rebelled and left the entire underground kingdom all but abandoned. However, some still believed that there was hope in saving some of these creatures, as some had proven to be tamer than others. As such, we sent in a group of 4 infamous warriors, known as the Knights of Bosleval, to go investigate. The first monster the 4 came across was a large blue-furred wyvern that they decided to call the wyvern. This is a weird name, but I'm not one to judge. Either way, this creature, as is typical for wyverns, has 2 wings and 2 legs. The knights also noted that they saw 2 of these creatures, one being blue and one being pink. The blue one was also notably far more aggressive than the pink one, which actually served as a helpful ally to them. Shortly after seeing the wyvern, the blue creature suddenly began chasing after them, forcing them to travel deeper and deeper into the underground caves. Eventually, they were able to defeat it, sending it tumbling down a deep chasm. The next creature they came across was much deeper into the caves. It was a pink arachnid-like creature that they called the... Let me check my notes. No, I'm not calling it that. I will refer to it as the long-limbed arachnid. Unlike the previous monsters, this one was actually able to speak. It was deviously intelligent and forced the Knights of Bosleval to complete 3 challenges, fighting different sets of creatures. The first was a small yellow dragon that greatly resembled a rabbit. This was one of the easier ones to defeat. The second challenge put the knights against an army of smaller, multicolored wyverns. Once again, this was easy to defeat. However, the final monster caused some trouble. The final creature, which resembled a cross between a dog and a giant centipede, this creature only attacked when you were moving, and the knight's challenge was to get past it without being eaten. They succeeded, but this angered the arachnid, who immediately attacked them with its extendable limbs and razor-sharp pincers. Eventually, one of the knights managed to trap one of its limbs underneath a rock, trapping it. Before it could free itself and continue chasing them, a strange grey arm with long claws came out of the darkness, killing the arachnid and dragging the corpse away. This clawed creature sounds nearly identical to one that I had seen during my venture to these caverns. What this creature is still unknown, but will be further researched with time. The next creature was reported to be by far the most terrifying creature the Knights of Bosleval ever faced. When I asked them for a name for the creature, all they said was, "It wasn't a delight, that's for sure." So unfortunately I don't have the actual name. Either way, this dragon is... Actually, it should technically be called a drake, as it does not actually have wings. Its most notable feature is its pale face, which looks to have several cracks and tears in it, revealing pulsing flesh underneath it, along with a large toothy maw. Besides its face, it has brightly primary-colored scales and a large blonde mane. Its primary weapon is a clubbed tail with barbed spikes coming from it. From a few scrolls and tablets the Knights of Bosleval found discussing this creature, it was once a member of a group of 7 identical dragons before the monsters rebelled against their creators. However, after the rebellion, she killed the 6 other drakes of her species. At first, the Knights of Bosleval thought that it would be easy to fight this creature, as it only attacked them when they looked away, similar to a dragon known as the Weeping Wyvern. However, it quickly gave up this strategy and began to hunt them normally. I will spare you the details of the battle, as we will be here for a while. This was a difficult fight, but after what felt like an eternity, the Delight Drake was finally deceased. Now, to be honest, there are several more dragons that the Knights of Boswell faced during this time. There is a lion-like multicolored dragon, a black sheep-like dragon, and even a humanoid automaton possessed by the soul of one of the warlocks that made these creatures in the first place. However, the most interesting dragon was the one that they faced most recently. This dragon, called the Shifting Doe-Beast. The Shifting Doe-Beast is a strange, amorphous dragon that can shift its body to its will. It was originally an ally to the Knights, but unfortunately its motion shifted even more rapidly than its body, though I would say that its anger was far from unfounded. You see, for years, this dragon led and protected a group of surviving monsters who had not become feral, along with a strange female dragon that we had not discussed yet. This was a small white and red dragon called Poppy, who had been a long-time ally to the Knights. Along with an untrustworthy source, she had gathered a set of runes that, if carved into the foundations of the underground kingdom, would blow it up, killing everyone and everything inside, including all of them. Obviously, the Doe-Beast was against this plan, as was I. But the Knights of Boswell went along with it and ignited the runes. But they were tricked. The kingdom still stood, but the only creatures who were damaged by the blast were those under the Doe-Beast's protection. Obviously, angered by the deaths of its friends, the Doe-Beast began to chase down the Knights of Boswell, transforming itself into a strange, multi-headed and multi-handed creature. Fortunately, the Knight had already learned that the Shifting Doe-Beast was weak to ice. With the use of cryomancy spells, the creature was frozen and killed. Honestly, this one is quite sad. But, as this is a developing tale, I'll make sure to update you all once the Knights give us more information. If you want to see more dragons, comment below. But until then, goodbye, and I will remember you all in therapy.